Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So, I have a link I'm going to share with you guys down in the description, like always. And this is a pretty good article because it goes right along with what I have been saying pretty much the whole time when prices started to move up. And that it was more about a supply chain breakdown than it was about the Federal Reserve and their monetary policies. And if you go and read the article, a lot of it goes, like I said, goes right along with what I've been saying. And really, I noticed it first in lumber. When lumber first started taking off and everybody started pointing at lumber saying, look at the price increases taking place in lumber, this is due to all the Federal Reserve and their monetary policies. And I said, nope, this has to do with the supply chain breakdown. This has to do with an inventory depletion. We have been reporting on this for months, over a year, leading up to the actual time that the lumber started taking off. I have lumber videos every week that I have been reporting on mill closures, mill curtailments, inventory shutdowns, all the way up until all of a sudden, boom, everybody got a stimulus check and ran out and started spending money down at the lumber yard. People started leaving the city and going out to the country, wanted to remodel their houses and build decks and fences and do all the nice things that you wanted to enjoy from being in seclusion, and it zapped all the rest of the inventory that was out there, and it caused the lumber prices to skyrocket. It had nothing to do with the monetary policies. The stimulus didn't help matters. It's kind of sealed the deal for it. So yes, it did have a lot to do with the monetary policies as far as the government and the fiscal stimulus when everybody got their stimulus checks, but lumber was already on its way up. I mean, it had already been depleted, and if people were leaving the city and moving out to the country, then it was going to cause prices to go up, because once people start moving into new houses or into a different house they want to remodel or they want to make the place better, like I said, decks, fences, seclusion, everything that went into this. So it had more to do with an inventory depletion, supply chain breakdown, and then that stimulus check came out and sealed the deal on the matter. But right now, all I'm hearing about is how the Federal Reserve is too late to the game. And I'm thinking, too late to what game? What was it that they were going to fix? I mean, did they want to slow down demand? Demand was less about how much people were really out there wanting to spend, as opposed to people going out there in fear trying to spend. Think about it like that for a second. The fear of inflation has been running rampant through the economy for months and months now. And people get this, when you have this fear of inflation, think about what you're going to do. If you're going to spend your money, what are you going to do? You're going to hurry up and do it, for one. So if you can't find it, you'll go out there and spend more on something to get it because you can't find it because you're in fear of it, right? You're in fear of losing the ability to get it. Or if you can find it, you're going to buy extra. You're going to buy more than what you need because you're in fear that the prices are going to go up and you won't be able to buy as much of it going into the future. So this is the inflation expectation. This is the fear that causes inflation. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the monetary policies. Now, what does cause price increases, like with homes and cars and stuff like that, is the availability to get a loan. That's different. Now, if the interest rates stay low and people have this easy access to money and they can take that money and go and spend it on a house and buy even more of a house with less of a payment, well, then you're going to start seeing price increases. This type of inflation, yes, I see asset prices increases due to the monetary policies, due to the low interest rates, due to stuff like that. But all the rest of the inflation that you're seeing out there, or at least the price increases, because inflation is really the expansion of money and credit, prices are the results of that. All these price increases that you're seeing out there is really due to the supply chain breakdown. If these shelves were filled, like I work retail, I work at a hardware store. We order in twice a week stock for the store. There's A items out there, the items that roll over every single week, like things that you are going to sell all the time, people coming consistently for them. These A items, when you typically had ordered prior to everything breaking down, you could order and get like 95% of what you would typically order. There might be some back orders here and there on some of the items. You wouldn't, it wouldn't be a big deal. Now it's like 16%, 20% of the A items come in. Almost nothing is available out there when it comes to supply of all the stuff that everybody is in demand of. Now, once these things start to flow through the system again, you're going to see the price increases stop going up. But now that we have them locked in, corporations, it's even admitted in this article that corporations are taking advantage of the situations and locking these prices in because people are just willing to accept it. I mean, I've even had customers come in and put something down on the counter and say, like, yeah, this inflation is just hitting everything. I look down at the item, I do a quick history on it because I have a computer that tells me, like, past years of sales, and I go and I look and the prices haven't changed. They're just assuming that these high prices are this here for everything. And even if it's something that they probably would feel like, man, this is expensive, they're giving it the excuse. Well, that's inflation for you, and they just go and spend the money anyway. So it gives like corporations this like, you know what, boys, let's go ahead and just kind of push it and see how far we can go with this stuff. And we can see how many, how high we can actually push the prices. The only problem with doing that is that if you are like a domestic manufacturer of stuff, what's going to end up happening is that the foreign suppliers are going to come in and say, hey, you guys pushed your prices up way too much, tried to take advantage of the fact that we have all this inflation, and now these foreign goods are going to come in and you're going to go out of business. That's what's going to happen. Just look at the mask manufacturers out there. This is something we reported on just not too long ago. So again, you have to go back to the question. It was just like, okay, so we're going to raise interest rates and we're going to slow the economy down. We're going to slow the demand down. What's going to happen to the economic activity out there? Less cars, less vacations, less houses, less purchases, less everything going on out there, and people are not going to be in fear of inflation. They're not going to be buying 2, 3, 4 times as much as what they normally had, causing this overwhelming demand that really doesn't exist because it's more of just a fear of inflation that's causing the demand to be high as people buy double or triple what they normally would. This is the situation that we're going to. Are we going to experience more inflation going into the future? Yeah, you know why? Because gas prices are going up. If you have energy costs going into stuff, then you're going to start seeing, the cost of manufacturing, the cost of everything, distribution starts to go up. Everything starts to cause prices to increase. And then what happens? People aren't spending money because the interest rates are going up. So now there's less economic activity. That means the manufacturers are not getting the demand that they normally had. That means they don't need as many employees. You see what's going on here? This is what's going to happen. Pretty soon the Federal Reserve is not going to be worried because they have already achieved their dual mandate of full employment and low and stable prices of around a 2% average inflation rate, whatever that is. I'm pretty sure that we have reached full employment. Like, everybody who wants to have a job has a job, right? Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.